Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you the results that you obtain from setting up your competency structure after it's been associated with activities and you start grading student work. In this one, we're going to look at our basic structure and the first tier results we can get. So let's click on a competency, such as this first one here. And then if we just click the results button, you'll see the students' names, their ID, and their completed status. So as you can see here, none of these students have achieved the competency yet. If you click on a student's name, it'll bring up your hierarchy, so you can see what activities and objectives and competencies they have met or not met. If you scroll down, you can click to go to any one of these links, and it'll show you. If I close this now, I clicked on this quiz link, so if I close, it'll show me the results for that quiz link, including the additional threshold. You see the number 70 here. That means student must get a 70% or better on the quiz in order to light up the completed status with a green check mark. So you can see here this student, the top and the bottom ones have achieved it, and this one falls below the threshold, so they did not. And likewise, if I click on the student's name, I can bring back up that structure and then click on any one of these to jump to the results for that competency. So if I go to this ethnographic arts competency under the art history one, I can again see the status for that. So that's a little navigation there. But if I'm from my home screen, let's jump to an objective now. I'll go to Intro to Ethnographic Art because that's where I've set up a lot of data. Again, I click Results, and I'm brought to a similar screen where I have the names, the IDs, and the completed status. Just once again, if I click on Name, I bring up the hierarchy, and I can jump to any one of these links that I would like to. For example, I can go to my activity here for the taboo tattoo activity, and now I can see a little bit more information with an activity association. I have my names, again the ID, and just like the quiz, I have a threshold level. This is associated with a rubric, which you can see if I click on this assessment link. It'll bring up the rubric I've associated to grade the student. I can, edit this if I want to right from this window, save or cancel. So as you can see, the threshold is level 3. The students must obtain at least a level 3 or 4 to get the completed status lit up with a green check mark. The first two have achieved that status, the last one has not. It's at a level 1, so this particular student would not have achieved the completed status for this activity. And then to get to that same result screen for that taboo tattoo activity, I would just go, I have it associated with this objective, and so I know that, so I would click there, and then I would go to structure, and then you can see here, the activity has two different icons. I have the activity tagged to this objective. So like when I set up my Dropbox, I went to objectives and I added objectives to that Dropbox, but that doesn't give me data. If you recall from the previous video when I talked about associations. But here I directly associated the activity through the Edit Structure tab, and so now I get results because I directly associated it as a activity. So that's like the third tier of the structure. This isn't a tier of the structure, it's just a tagged objective to the Dropbox that I set up through the Dropbox. This was set up through the competency structure. So I click on the results and it takes me to that same window that I got to by navigating through this hierarchy. So again, like if I click there, it would bring me up to the same point I'm at right here. So threshold, got your rubrics and your levels, completed status. So there's our first level of data. Now if we go to class progress, we can see some additional details. have student's name, content, the percentage that they have visited, objectives, and the status of those objectives. This first student has completed 4 of 4. This second student is missing 2 of the 4, so you can see it's half and half. And the third student is just missing 1 of 4. Here's the number of logins per student. And just keep in mind, these are all sample students. I'm playing the students when I log in as them, so they're not real students. And then here's grades. This one actually, just to see how an exemption worked, exempted one of the activities, so that's why this one only has 2. And then here's 3 grade items and 3 grade items. So if I click here, I can go to the grade progress. This is the same data students would also see when they go to their class progress. And then if I go back here, we can see where the other links should jump us to the same places. So if I click on objectives, it should take me to objectives here. So it'd just be like clicking here, just like grades takes me back here, objectives would take me back here, and this is all under, well, the students would go to their class progress up here and it would bring them to this window. But as the teacher, when we click on class progress, we get this overview first, and then content would bring you to the content link, which is here, and then if I click on the student's name, it brings me to their progress summary, so right to the top. And then if I go to, say, an objective, and I find one up here, you know, if they're not started, they'll list under here. In progress ones will list here. Past ones, I have 4 here that this particular student would have passed. And if I click on activities, I can expand and see the activities under the objectives. I can follow the link here to that activity. And then if I click on these big bold links next to the objective, the title, it'll bring me up a little bit of a summary where I can see the parent to that objective and any children associated with it. And then here's my additional identifier, which is the content standard. And then again, I get some more links I can click on here to see the children associated with that parent objective. So you can play around with that. So that's our first tier of, you know, data when we're getting used to things. So we have our data for the competency, data for the objective, and then data for the activities we have associated with our objectives. And then we have our class progress. That can take us to, if it'll ever bring it up, that can take us to this nice summary for each student, so we can quickly see where students are in our course, and then we can go to the individual students' progress summary, see their grades, objectives, and a little bit more detailed information there. So I hope you found this helpful, and thank you for watching. Good luck with your data.